While many people think of Divine Soul Sorcerer as a healing support subclass, the potential for this build can allow you to be anything but. Thanks to having not just the Sorcerer spell list, but also the Cleric spell list at your disposal, you can pull off some amazing builds as a Divine Soul Sorcerer. But imagine, if you will, this concept. Your character has strong ties in their lineage to a god of the dead that shepherd and protect the souls of the deceased. Or, somewhere in your lineage, an ancestor struck a deal with a being of undeath and served them, and now you, their distant descendant, get all this necromantic power for yourself. Now, for this build, it's fairly straightforward. We'll just be going Divine Soul Sorcerer the entire way. But don't let the single class focus fool you. This can be a very fun and flavorful build when it's put together the right way. While I show you how to pull off this character, I'll also give you some build tips as well as some nice combos that can really give your character the extra flair and mileage. So now, starting with race, I think having something like Aasimar would thematically make the most sense here. They are in some interpretations being called to do the work of certain gods and deities, and in other cases, they are actually descended from actual gods themselves. Being descended from or destined to serve a god that shepherds the dead fits pretty well here. In addition to this, your Aasimar forms have a strong synergy to your sorcerer spellcasting and spell save DC. And as an Aasimar, you gain the feature Healing Hands, which once again can add to that healing kit, which can kind of give you that dual-natured aspect of this build. So like this build as a whole, you get a strong support ability that can help you heal, as well as a strong damage ability too. So getting into the build itself, like any sorcerer, what you want to do is put your highest stat to Charisma. This will tie into your spellcasting ability as well as your Aasimar abilities, as I just mentioned. Backgrounds here can be very flexible, and at this point, you can have whatever background you feel makes the most sense for your character. And as you can imagine, throughout the build, as you're getting ability score improvements, put all of those into Charisma or taking feats that will make your abilities even stronger. And this is pretty much the layout of the build in our progression. Now it's just an important focus to pick up as many Necromancy and healing spells as possible. But now I'll give you some fun tips and pointers of how to make the most out of this build, as well as some fun spells you should definitely consider picking up, and fun ways you can bend them with your meta magic. First of all, Animate Dead. This is going to be one of the big flavor cornerstones of the build. Normally you wouldn't be able to get this spell as a sorcerer, but thanks to having access to the cleric list, you can get the ability to learn it. Animate Dead is available to you as a 3rd level spell and allows you to target a pile of bones or such to create a zombie or skeleton. You gain the ability to summon even more undead when you're using a stronger, higher level spell slot, as long as you have enough resources as well. And you have to recast the spell occasionally to keep the control over your creatures. Moving on to the spell Create Undead. This allows you to target 3 bone piles of medium or smaller humanoids, as well as, some other sorts of piles that I won't go into because of YouTube, and it allows you to create a ghoul, which is a nasty kind of undead. As you gain the ability to cast this spell at higher levels, you can create and control even more and even stronger undead. Ghasts, wights, and mummies are the 3 kinds of other undead this spell lists, and these are some very nasty creatures to fight. And in a similar vein to Animate Dead, you have to recast this spell on the undead you create to keep control over them. Death Ward. This is a 4th level spell available to clerics, and thanks to your subclass as well as your twinned spell meta magic, this spell becomes even more powerful. You can now target an additional creature with Death Ward, preventing them from being knocked unconscious or unalived once their HP reaches 0. Being able to target 2 creatures with this spell and the fact that it isn't concentration means you can easily place this on your entire party depending on how large your party is. And this isn't even to mention the fact that you can also extend this spell thanks to literally your meta magic feature, Extended Spell. Normally this spell has a duration of 8 hours, but you can double that, turning it into 16 hours. Healing Word. This is a go-to healing spell for many support classes. This will also be a strong resource for you to use to keep your party members alive. And with your twin spell meta magic and even your empowered healing subclass feature, you can really spread the healing throughout your party, and even at a distance too. Finger of Death. This is quite a unique spell when it comes to our necromancy list here, because while you typically need to recast certain necromancy spells like Animate Dead and Create Undead to keep control over the undead you create, this spell allows you to blast a creature, and if it's both a humanoid and brought to 0 hit points by the attack, it rises next turn as a zombie under your control. Permanently. No need to recast, no concentration, nothing. This zombie will be under your control for the rest of the game. And now for the best part, you can use your twin spell meta magic and target an additional creature with this spell. You get 2 zombies for the price of 1. Revivify, Resurrection, True Resurrection, and Raise Dead. These are your go-to, no new character sheet for you friend spells. As you can imagine, being able to raise your characters back from the dead is also incredibly useful and fits highly well with this character. You are a character that can either raise your players up from the dead in perfect health or as zombies to your undead army, and as I've said a number of times in this video already, you get the ability to twin most of these spells with your twin spell meta magic feature, raising 2 of your friends for the price of 1 if that situation ever came up. And that's the overview of the build. Thanks to this combo, you'll be a fantastic healer as well as someone who slaughters the turn order and action economy. By late game, you'll have tons of healing and support options for your friends, and likely many undead under your control. Be a vengeance-filled hero that punishes the wicked who seek to do harm and bring their power into your growing army, or be a morally questionable necromancer who draws their powers from an evil necromancer god who wants you to go out and spread even more chaos and undeath wherever you go. So as always, I hope that you enjoyed the build, and if you did, please feel free to like the video and subscribe for even more D&D content.